Support for Steppin Out comes in part from the Kristovich family in honor of Mary Lou and Bill Kristovich.
Good evening, I'm Peggy Scott Laborde, and welcome to Steppin Out, spotlighting the New Orleans area's arts and entertainment scene. Seated at our table tonight, Gwen Thompkins, host of the radio program Music Inside Out, airing twice weekly on WWNO. Good to see you once again.
Thanks so
Hello,
much for
dear.
having me.
Yes, indeed. Poppy Tucker, host of the radio program Louisiana Eats, also airing twice weekly on WWNO. Good to see you, Ms.
Hey,
Poppy, once
Peg.
again. Making her Steppin Out debut, Vivian Westerman, artist and author of the book French Quarter Artist, a memoir of being a French Quarter artist, especially around Jackson Square. Much welcome here. Hello.
Thank you.
And Steppin Out theater critic, Alan Smason of theatercriticism.com.
And the award-winning Crescent City Jewish News.
And that's right. We'll talk a little bit more about that shortly. Thank you for reminding me, as you would, of course. No, first up, Poppy.
Well, first up, we've got to give a shout out to Elan Shaya. And of course, Elan has had an interesting life this last year and opened his restaurant Sabah, which is doing so well. But I saw him, I was just at Slow Food Nation. That's why I wasn't on with y'all a couple of weeks ago. And Elan and I cooked together on the food demonstration stage, making delicious things with camellia beans. But anyway, I was moved to that, and it's time to talk about Sabah because of the construction on the corner of Magazine and Nashville Street. Now, that's where Kenton's was, and you can still get to Sabah via the Nashville
Come from
Avenue.
Nashville. And there's the parking lot right there, so go into the parking lot. Yes.
And you were just there.
Yes, it's so funny. But go ahead. We want to hear.
Okay, and of course, Elan's getting ready to open SAFTA in August in Denver. That's one reason we were up there together. But anyway, Sabah is divine. Anybody who was a big fan of Elan's former restaurant, Shaya, will love it. You're going to go in and find classic Elan Shaya favorites like Lutanesca, tabbouleh, labna, Iraqi eggplant salad. Now, that's something new. And that's all those starters, 3 for $21 or 5 for $35. But then once you get to the hummus, this is like uncharted territory. It doesn't really come off the pages of the old menu for sure. How about charred poblano pepper with soft-cooked egg, pistachio tahini, and rose duca? Oh my.
Or blue crab, the crab.
Oh yes, that's
too.
right. I forgot to mention that. Blue crab hummus. Nobody's doing. Lamb with warm spices, pickled apricots and almonds. I'm a big lamb lover. So there's lamb kebabs, there's octopus, there's foie gras. That's new. And also new, there's caviar service with potato chips. And so you can also, even though that sounds very grand, you can still eat family style with harissa roasted chicken and striped bass, so whole fish plate.
Had that was great, the striped bass.
Oh,
Really
it
enjoyed
looked
that.
absolutely. And then there's lots of crossovers between their lunch and dinner menu. They're closed Monday and Tuesday, but they serve lunch and dinner the rest of the week. But caviar service remains an option at both lunch and dinner, which I think is interesting. And the lunch menu, there's sandwiches, like a sandwich with lamb's tongue, and there's a sandwich that's described as oyster schnitzel. I'm guessing it's kind of like an Israeli oyster poor boy, with Yemenite curry, half-sour pickles, and sesame seeds. And anyway, the food's delicious. So you might be able to get in now that you can hardly get there. So, because I know it's been hard to get reservations.
Yeah.
Now, another incredible thing that popped up this week is Reginelli's Pizzeria has a tricentennial tasting menu. This really surprised me so. Now, 3 courses, $19.50. This is now through September 30th at all Reginelli locations, but it is dine-in only. You can't get this to go. So you can start off Roasted eggplant reginelli with goat cheese butter, or a shrimp taco, or watermelon salad with feta, fresh mint, citrus glaze, and candied pecans. For your entree, if you wanted to go for pizza, you can get the sausage and peppers pizza. That's on the menu. Or you can have seafood and andouille gumbo, or spinach manicotti for an entree. And for dessert, how perfect. You can have briccata spumoni or birthday cake cupcake. Isn't that $19.50?
That's a deal.
And then, this is going to sell out. It always does. It's the 6th annual Louisiana Grass-Fed Beef Picnic, Wednesday, August the 22nd at Dickie Brennan's Steakhouse. Chefs from the Steakhouse Tableau and the Palace and the Bourbon House all convene on the Steakhouse and cook Louisiana Wagyu beef from Gonsolin Farms. That is a family farm since 1770. And the Gonsolins are always there. And the cuts are presented in countless different ways. And of course, this year, there's Glenfiddich cocktails. There's Urban South and Port Orleans Brewing beers. And then there's wines of substance. And this is an $80 ticket, and a portion of the proceeds goes to benefit Second Harvest.
So beverages would be additional to that.
No.
That's included?
Yeah,
no wonder it sells out so fast.
Yeah, it's $80 for like the
Okay.
most awesome beef dinner you're going to
yeah.
ever have in your life, and all you can eat, all you can drink, $80, and you're benefiting the Second Harvest Food Bank. So really, why don't you just buy a ticket and go? I can't think of a reason not to.
Thank you, Poppy. Satchmo Fest next week.
Yes, this is the
Yay.
highlight of the summer for so many Louis Armstrong lovers, and I think we can count the whole city, you know what I mean, in that number. It is fantastic. It's going to be Satchmo Summerfest, presented by Chevron, and it's the 18th year.
Wow.
It's going to be from August 3rd until the 5th. And it's chock-a-block with music and with luminaries, people who have either known Armstrong, worked with Armstrong. And so on Friday, there are going to be so many different artists, but on Friday, Aurora Nealand is going to be playing, Don Vappy and the Creole Serenaders. Saturday, Lars Edegren, Topsy Chapman and Solid Harmony. On Sunday, Wendell Brunius, Mark Burrow, Irma Thomas, Big Chief Donald Harrison Jr. It's going to be fantastic. And then, there are the people who know the most about Armstrong, and that's in this speaker series that's going to take place over at the U.S. Mint. All this is happening at the U.S. Mint building, and it's going to be the Satchmo Legacy Stage, and it's going to feature Dan Morgenstern, the great writer, the great archivist. Exactly. He's just fantastic. I can't wait to see him. And he's going to do a remembrance of George Avakian, who was the legendary producer, of course, who helped Armstrong produce some of his best material on record. Also, Bruce Rayburn is coming back, the former head of the Hogan Jazz Archive.
Yeah, he doesn't live here anymore.
No, he has moved to Spokane, Washington, but he's now being lured back to New Orleans for this event, and he's going to be speaking along with a Swedish scholar called Bjorn Barnheim, and they're going to be talking about Lewis's trips to Sweden during his lifetime. And the superstar of the speaker series, of course, is Ricky Riccardi, who is the curator and archivist for the Louis Armstrong Archive up in Corona, Queens, New York, and actually it's at Queens College right now, and he is just marvelous, and he's going to speak every day. Okay, and he always has new video of Armstrong, newly found video of Armstrong, newly found photographs. You know, you're going to be able to see things that you've never seen before, having to do with Louis Armstrong, and you won't regret it. You know, no. But there's also on the same weekend, actually, beginning on August 2nd, I believe, is going to be at the U.S. Mint at the New Orleans Jazz Museum. There's going to be the beginning of an exhibit honoring Professor Longhair. And I just, this is a great weekend for honoring our heroes, right? And it's called Me Got Fio, and it's going to begin August 2nd at the museum. It's the centenary of Henry Roland Byrd, aka Professor Longhair.
There's Michael Smith photos.
Yes.
Woo!
Aren't they fantastic? And and the exhibit is going to run a full year until July 1st, 2019, and it's going to feature all sorts of memorabilia associated with Professor Longhair, as well as his electric piano. which which I'm kind of interested in seeing. And there are all kinds of free receptions. Well, there's not all kinds. There's one free reception that's going to be actually August 2nd from 5 till 7. Tom Worrell is going to play piano along with Alfred Uganda Roberts, who is the percussionist who played with Fest for so long. So it's going to be lovely.
Lots of good stories to tell.
Absolutely lovely. I'm looking forward to it.
Thank you so much. And New Orleans Magazine's quiz queen, Julia Street, has a question for us. Last time, Larry Hesdorfer. Hello, Larry Hesdorfer. Gave us the names of a famous music club and legendary snowball stand that are both located on Tchoupitoulas. Okay, of course, the answers could have been, we would have accepted F&M, but it's really Tipitina's, okay? But F&M Patio is also on Tchoupitoulas, and Hanson Snowbliss. Now, tonight's question. Because of its closeness to the fairgrounds, North Broad Street used to be known for its steakhouses. Name two, one of which still stands. Would love it. Email your answers to steppinout@wyes.org. Our prizes: a year subscription to Louisiana Life magazine, a dish towel with the message "Long Live New Orleans" from our friends at wearablevegetables.com, and a pair of free admission passes to either the Audubon Zoo, the Aquarium of the Americas, or the Butterfly Garden and Insectarium. Just went to the Insectarium last Sunday. So much fun. Hadn't been there in a long time. Anyway, go to WYS.org for our online calendar to see our lineup of events, including Vino on the Bayou. That's next Thursday at the Petot House, right there in Bayou St. John. You can also link to our WYES YouTube channel to see our program. Now, Vivian, you have been a French Quarter artist for 30 years plus, and primarily around Jackson Square. So this book that you've written, French Quarter Artist, is sort of an autobiography, but you used a third person, you used an alter ego, if you will, on it too. Right. But stories about what's gone on, and it's quite the cohesive little community, isn't it?
Yes, it's a wonderful place. I've been out there 30 years, and it's always amazing going out there to see the different artists and the different works that they have. There's always something new, and everybody loves their job. They really do.
We're going to be showing some of the artists out there. I know that most of the artwork is original. I know that now some of it is not, and that's been a challenge. But so many different. There are caricatures, street scenes. Now you like to really focus more on street scenes, don't you? Or?
Well, no, I was doing portraits mainly, but the cell phone craze has
selfies.
Yeah, selfies have changed that. So I do portraits when I can, but I'm doing just regular street scenes. I just sit in my spot and draw what's in front of me. So.
Well, I thought
that's what artists have been
maybe it was
doing.
too hot, but you said nope. There's a breeze and there's
shade.
No,
it's cool because we're right on the river.
Yes. Yeah. And of course, for so long, folks like Lee Tucker, who has been around for a very long time, and a friend, Linda Cuthbert's been out there too. But it's around, of course, Jackson Square. We all grew up with that, all right? And you said that there have been artists out there since
the Civil War.
I did not realize that. I had no idea. But I know artists are also in the back St. Anthony's Garden behind the cathedral. That some folks are over there too. Do you have one particular spot that you favor, or?
I generally like St. Anne because it's closer to where we keep our carts, so you don't have to push your cart as far. And wherever the shade is, so to get a good spot.
Now, when are you mostly out there?
I generally come during the weekdays.
Weekdays, okay. But there's some folks who are just there on weekends?
Yeah, some people just come on weekends, but I prefer weekdays because it's more like just a little country town. It's not a big hoopla.
Well, I like the variety. I remember one time buying a few bead art paintings, which were great. It's really a mix, and of course, but the street scenes are always popular, aren't they?
Right. That's the number one. The little postcard from New Orleans. That's what everybody wants, and it's so beautiful. It's the most beautiful place in the country. It really is.
Absolutely. Now, not only do you work in that media, but you also are a sculptor.
Yeah, I do sculpture. Which is very difficult to get into, but I'm working on some thoroughbred and Arabian horse now, and I'm trying to market those.
So how did you come up with the idea of the book? Is it something you had in you for a long time?
No, I've always loved the place, and it's like somebody's got to write a book about it, and so I had to do it.
Well, and you live across the river.
I live across the river on the river.
Mississippi River means something to you,
yeah,
doesn't it?
right. It's. I love the river.
Yeah. Well, I love the fact that you ride your bike. You don't have a car.
No, I've never owned a car.
Wow.
Did you ever live in the quarter? Did you?
Yeah, I lived in the quarter in the beginning, but then I bought my house and moved across the river, so it's perfect.
Now, where is the book available?
At the 1850 house, Louisiana State
Right there on
Museum's
St. Anne?
book, right on St. Anne, and then the Faulkner House, which is on Pirates Alley, and then on Amazon, and then at the public library.
Great. And you also, so the Hubble Library on that
Right,
side.
yeah.
And it's also in a Kindle version, too. Interesting.
Right.
Yeah.
It's electronic,
Well,
too.
congratulations.
Thank
As we
you,
know,
yes.
writing books,
Hard
it's
job.
a lot of work.
Oh, yeah, no.
So,
I
congratulations.
enjoyed doing it, especially when it was over with.
Yes.
It's the best part.
Yes.
Well, good news, congratulations.
Thank you, thank you.
And now it is time, though, for our additional artist spotlight. Tonight we are featuring art, of course, from local artist Roland Golden. Here is Edge of Antietam. Known for his realism and abstract paintings and sketches, Golden has received numerous awards for his work. And here is Sunset on Skyline Drive. An opening reception for his newest show titled Uncommon Vision is August the 4th, next Saturday night, at the McGrider Gallery right there on Julia. It runs through August 31st. Now, Alan, the award-winning at the Press Club Award.
Here you go. This is
Okay.
the unprecedented for me, first place for breaking news, which I never believed. And I have to thank the people at WWL because they really, were not very, very, very gracious about my winning because, I mean, that's a big organization, WWL, and it's just me, the little Crescent City Jewish News. And because I won first place for breaking news, I was able to get the Best of Show for the Bill Rainey Memorial Award. And again, a big honor for me. Again, thank you, Press Club. Thank you, all the people who judge. But, to win the Best of Show is really important. I don't know that this will happen again in my lifetime.
And your mama was there.
Yes, she was.
So
Yes, she was. So I
yeah.
really appreciate that. And it was for a story I did on Hurricane Harvey and that epic rain event that we had back last year. So again,
Remember it well.
I appreciate it very much. Another winner that night, of course, was first place in feature writing, who was, of course, Sally Asher. And I consider that almost the holy grail of writing because it's so competitive for all the feature writers. And, she's quite a photographer in her own right. Here she is with you, Peggy. I guess you blondes were having more fun that night.
Wow. Okay.
And here
Thank
she
you.
is with Poppy. The only thing I guess I could really add is I really wish we all could win. But, back in 2015, you won, Poppy won, and I won. But, again, we can't always win every year. But, hopefully, we'll continue what we're doing.
Alan, it's an honor to be nominated.
Yes, I know. Anyway, so let me just move on from there. I know, but we're just.
Yes, right, Peggy?
Of course it is.
Okay.
Of course it is.
Next year, you, Gwen.
Hopefully.
There you go.
Now, last week I alerted everybody to the summer offerings at the National World War II Museum's BB Stage Door Canteen. And as I promised, I wanted to kind of go over the rest of their season and give everybody a little bit of a heads up about what's going to be offered there at BB Stage Door Canteen. So first off, Pump Boys and Dinettes will start off the season in September. Now, this is, of course, for all you country music fans. You may remember they just had, I think, the most recent iteration of this over at Summer Lyric several years ago, and C. Leonard Raybon actually was singing and dancing on stage, which I loved. Again, the cast will be playing their own instruments as well as kitchen utensils. Then the Victory Bells will be returning in September. They're going to be featured in a show that's going to feature, of course, patriotic songs and, of course, the music of the 40s. Then Dames at Sea. Now, this, of course, is a send-up of the Busby Berkeley musicals, if you remember, of the 30s. Again, this was the show that actually rocketed to fame a very, very young Bernadette Peters in 1968,
Very young.
if you remember
That's a great show.
And then a new Christmas show featuring the Victory Bells, known as the Christmas Bells for the show. And again, that will be ringing in the Christmas season. For one night only, cabaret performer Nina Gabianel, who performs in New York, will appear in a one-woman show. That's on December the 2nd. And then the Teddy Bear Tea will be running throughout the month of December, just prior to Christmas. Then 2019 heralds the return of Jump, Jive, and Wail, the Louis Prima tribute show with Tom Hook and Christina Perez. That'll return for a month-long run. And then the amazing Rat Pack Now. Of course, they pay tribute to Frank Sinatra and Dean Martin and Sammy Davis Jr. And then finally, the two Bobs, Bob Balduri and Bob Seeley. They'll be entertaining crowds on their two pianos, playing duets together. That'll be 176 keys, if you want to count them all, playing for your jazz, boogie-woogie, stride, and rock and roll pleasure. So that's all at BB's Stage Door Canteen. One interesting note that I will let everybody know about, and one that I found a little bit compelling, was I did not see on the calendar that Louisiana in World War II show that they had promised us this past year that was canceled. So obviously that's still in the works, and maybe we'll get to see that in another iteration. Meanwhile, artistic director Michael McKelvey is pulling out all the stops as they prepare next week for Newsies, again directed and choreographed by Diane Lala. This will be the regional premiere. We did see the national tour here, but this is going to be the regional premiere, the first time any theater in the area has done this. Music by Alan Menken, and of course all the dancers, they're doing catapulting and leaping around stage. They're just amazing. This is the final presentation for Summer Lyric. They started off the year, of course, with My Fair Lady and continued with Ragtime 2 weeks ago. So again, we hope that everybody will get out and see it, because this they did start off with the Bernstein tribute. So but as far as the big shows, those were the three big shows, and again, they are really seemingly just steamrolling their way through the summer, and everybody's been enjoying it. Meanwhile, Tracy Collins, what a wonderful divine choice as Mrs. Wire. She's going to be playing the landlady of the apartment house complex where young Tennessee Williams stayed in 1938 when he first moved here to New Orleans. There's lots of goings on as the Tennessee Williams Theater Company will be presenting this play starting up next weekend at the Marigny Opera House. We'll have hopefully a review on that sometime.
That is a very underappreciated play.
It is.
It is really good. But
Yes.
it just didn't get, the attraction or the traction of Streetcar. But that's I would highly recommend.
I would say that it probably is, and although they talk about Glass Menagerie, to me this is his most autobiographical, because it really does capture a slice of his own life that he put back on pages and allowed people to see what he was doing and how he was sort of a fish out of water coming to New Orleans, and all the different characters. It's really a wonderful play. And last but not least, this is a play that's set in a coffee shop. It's The Aliens, and it's written by the same writer who wrote the Pulitzer Prize winner, The Flick, which I found one of the most painful and slow and plodding plays I've ever seen. But it won the Pulitzer Prize, so what do I know? The most unusual thing about this play is that the venue is Prauline's by Jean. That is situated right next door to the Avenue Pub.
Wow.
So if you've never been there, you'll be able to go to maybe check out the Prauline's that Jean has. And if you want, you can grab a cold brew at the Avenue Pub next door, either before or after the show. So.
Prauline's and beer. Is there more?
I'm telling you. Okay, Alan, thank you very much. Now time for our picks. Gwen, Prauline's and beer. Okay, I got to think about that.
I can't promise Prauline's and beer, but tomorrow, actually, at Preservation Hall from 12:30 to 3:30 is going to be a terrific show. It's Calvin L. Harris, the trombonist, and he's going to do a show called The King in Me, which is a tribute to Nat King Cole, who also was a close friend of Louis Armstrong. Armstrong loved Nat King Cole, so this is a great week, actually. And so David Torkanowski is going to play, Herlin Riley is going to play, the great drummer. It's going to be a wonderful occasion, and if you have a chance to go and see it on Sunday, 12:30 to 3:30, you should do so. Go to their website to get tickets.
Yeah, Gwen, may I point something out? I think a lot of people, if they haven't been to Preservation Hall lately, it used to be sort of first come, first serve, and so maybe you get a seat or maybe you not. You didn't, okay? So sometimes you have to stand up, okay? But now, you can buy a ticket, and if you want, you can get a ticket to sit down or you can stand up, okay? But at least there is that choice more. So I just wanted to mention that.
That's absolutely right. I mean, there's limited seating, but you can get a chance to sit down if you like.
Sounds like a great idea. And the diversification of the music, I guess that's Benji.
They're doing exciting things over there at Preservation Hall.
Good.
And it's Ben Jaffe, and the entire team, actually. They're just doing Ron Rona, Ashley Graham. They're doing a wonderful job.
Good. Thank you. Poppy.
Well, we have a new QuickBytes podcast. And of course, those are the podcasts that maybe you get to hear later on Louisiana Eats or not. This is called To Beef or Not to Beef, and it features Dario Caccini, who, of course, if you didn't get to see that famous butcher when he was at Dickie Brennan's Steakhouse in May, you'll get to hear him. And, of course, he was here because Richard Brennan III, who's included in the podcast, Dickie's son, apprenticed with him in Panzano in the Chianti region. It is a delicious podcast. So if you didn't get to have that delicious time in May, join us this weekend at poppytucker.com.
Thank you. Vivian.
On Jackson Square, there are artists waiting to sell their paintings or do your portrait or do a caricature. They're always there waiting for the tourist.
What a good present it would be, too.
Right, exactly, yes.
Absolutely. Thank you, Vivian.
Well, you know, we have the kids show playing right now at Rivertown Theater's Performing Arts. It's the junior edition of Rivertown's Beauty and the Beast. With the senior edition just ended. But they're going to have the Wizard of Oz Young Performers Edition in West Wego at the West Wego Performing Arts Theater for the Jefferson Performing Arts Society. That's going to be Saturday, July the 28th, and at 2 p.m. and 7:30. So again, a couple of shows there to go check out the kids. And it's a nice auditorium. If you haven't been over on that side of the river, go check it out.
All right, thank you. And my picks, kudos, first off, to the folks at St. Andrew's Episcopal Church on South Carrollton for their summer camp Able Nola for children with special needs. There will be a talent show this Saturday afternoon put on by the kids. Visit standrewnola.com/camp-able for more information on that. Longtime New Orleans actor Michael Martin will perform in the one-man show An Apology for the Course and Outcome of Certain Events delivered by Dr. John Faustus, and he's been doing that, of course, off St. Claude. But Sunday night, the final evening will be at 7 p.m. It's actually a free, but I think they'll pass a hat. But anyway, it's free to go. And that's at the Chapel of the Holy Comforter on Lakeshore Drive, right near Elysian Fields in UNO. Looking ahead, next Saturday is Hancock Whitney White Linen Night. The block party will be, of course, in the 300 to 700 blocks of Julia from 5:30 to 9:30. After that, there's the White Linen After Dark Party at the Contemporary Art Center on Camp Street, and that's from 9 to midnight. Admission is $10. Before we leave you, though, I wanted to put you on the spot here and just say, I understand that Wendell Brunius, who had a heart attack, like right after the Jazz Fest, is doing better, and I heard that he was going to be performing, but we wish him well, don't we?
Yes, we do. He's a treasure. He's a treasure, and he's been for a long time here in New Orleans, and he's apparently irrepressible. He does not want to stop playing, and he's playing beautifully from what I hear.
He is a great example of the musical families.
Absolutely. I mean, Wendell Brunius is one of a number of trumpeters in his family, and so with the exception of, of course, Mark Bro, who is his relation, is also a wonderful trumpeter. He plays with Harry Connick and is also playing at the Louis Armstrong Festival, the Satchmo Fest next weekend. But Wendell Brunius, he's irreplaceable. He's irrepressible, and the man is, he's just a good listen as well.
He's a good listener, but he's also a good talker, and not everybody has that persona where they talk to the audience and then play and explain, and he has this very amiable way about him. So
it's true. I'm dying to have him on my show. I think on Music Inside Out. I really want to have him soon.
Well, thank you all so very much, and thank you very much for watching. Good night.
Good night.